Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a foreigner living in or trying to move to Spain, you probably already know that dealing with extranjería, the immigration office, can feel like a completely endless waiting game. You know the feeling, right? Waking up, grabbing your phone, and refreshing this Sede Electrónica, the online portal, every single morning, just hoping for some kind of update. You submit your paperwork, you double-check every single stamp, and then nothing. Or even worse, you finally get a letter, and it's a denial. It is a wildly stressful reality. But today, we're going to break down exactly what the law says you can do about it and hopefully transform that stress into an actual, actionable plan. It's completely normal to be stressing out if you've been waiting weeks, or honestly even months, for a reply from the immigration office. It feels like your life is just on pause. But if your application has been denied, or if you're stuck in that maddening, endless silence, take a deep breath. This explainer is your tactical, step-by-step playbook to moving forward. We're going to cut right through the confusion and look at exactly what your rights are under Spanish administrative law. So here is our roadmap for today. Step 1. Decode the silence. Step 2. Choose your appeal. Step 3. File your appeal. And finally, Step 4. Final guidance. All right, let's jump right into Step 1. Decode the silence. We need to shatter some common misconceptions about what no answer actually means. Okay, so this brings us to a huge concept, silencio administrativo, or administrative silence. Essentially, this is the legal result that kicks in when the government fails to reply to your application within the mandatory legal timeframe. You might be wondering why this even exists. Well, it's a legal mechanism built to stop the administrative system from bottlenecking forever. The government just puts a hard stop on the clock. But the catch here is that it places the burden of figuring out the next steps squarely on you, the applicant. And here's the harsh reality. In most immigration procedures, administrative silence means negative. It is a default denial. If they don't answer in time, the law assumes your application has been rejected. It's incredibly frustrating, I know, but knowing this fact is the absolute first step to taking action. But wait. There is a massive, important exception you absolutely must know about. Yes, the general rule in extranjería is that silence equals negative. But the exception is renovaciones, or renewals. If you're simply renewing a status you already hold, silence is usually positive. That means if they don't reply within the legal window, your renewal is considered approved by default. So please do not generalize that silence equals refusal across the board. You have to know exactly which type of application you submitted, because for a renewal, silence is actually a huge win. So let's say you do fall into that negative silence category. How do you fight a ghost? How do you appeal a decision that was never actually sent to you? Well, you use a very specific tool, the Certificado de Silencio Administrativo, the Certificate of Administrative Silence. This is a formal document proving that the administration failed to answer you in time. But here is the kicker. The certificate isn't just magically sent to you in the mail. It's a proactive step you have to take to formalize their lack of response. Once you request and hold this certificate, you use it as your foundational proof to officially file your legal appeal. Moving right along to Step 2. Choose your appeal. Let's break down the exact legal routes available to you under Law 39/2015. We're going to walk through a logical progression of these 3 specific appeal routes, which are explicitly laid out in Articles 123 and 124. First up is the recurso de reposición. You file this before the exact same body that issued your denial. The strict deadline here is 1 month from the notification to file. That body then has 3 months to decide. If they don't reply within those 3 months, your appeal is deemed rejected and the judicial route opens up. Second, we have the recurso de alzada. This one is filed before a higher administrative body. Basically, you're going right over the head of the office that denied you. You use this route specifically when the initial act does not end the administrative route. And third is the recurso contencioso-administrativo. This is the judicial route, meaning you're taking the matter completely out of the immigration office's hands and into the courts. You have exactly 2 months from the notification of denial or 2 months from the expiry of the silence deadline to file this. Let's circle back to that first option for a second, the recurso de reposición. In Spanish law, this route is potestativo, which translates to optional. You are not legally obligated to ask the exact same body to change its mind before you escalate things. If it makes sense for your specific situation, you can skip the reposición entirely and jump straight to the judicial route, the contencioso-administrativo. Having that kind of flexibility is a highly strategic piece of knowledge. All right, Step 3, file your appeal. Let's get into the actual mechanics of executing this to remove some of the friction.
If you're dreading the idea of standing in some massive line at an immigration office at 6 a.m. just to hand in a piece of paper, I have fantastic news for you. According to official guidelines, specifically Instruction SCM 1/2024, you do not need to show up in person. Seriously, 0 personal appearance is required. These administrative appeals can be filed completely through a representative, like an abogado, a lawyer, or an authorized person, via the government's electronic register. And why is digital filing through a representative so much safer? Because it creates an immediate, undeniable timestamp and a concrete paper trail. You can manage this entire situation securely without ever having to step foot inside a government building.
Which brings us to our last section, Step 4, Final Guidance. These are the critical procedural warnings you absolutely cannot ignore. Listen closely to this. The deadlines are short, and they are literally non-extendable. 1 month for reposition, 2 months for the judicial route. Under Law 39/2015, if you miss that window by even a single day, you lose your right to appeal entirely. The clock does not stop because you were confused, or because you were traveling, or because you were just waiting to hear back from a friend. Do not let the clock run out on your legal rights. Because the stakes are this high and those deadlines are so incredibly strict, it is highly recommended to consult an immigration lawyer immediately. Please do not guess on this. A specialized abogado de extranjería is absolutely required to evaluate the specific details of your individual case, figure out exactly which route is legally appropriate, and properly prepare all that appeal paperwork. We're laying out the mechanics of the law today, for sure, but we cannot assess your individual chances of success. That is exclusively the job of a legal professional.
And that brings us to our mandatory disclaimer. What we've discussed today is purely informational guidance, not legal advice. The exact routes and deadlines will always depend on your specific act and the exact letter you received or, didn't receive. You absolutely must verify your specific situation using the official sources, namely Law 39/2015 published in the BOE, the official state gazette, and you must consult a professional. If you want a refresher on the mechanics we've discussed, step-by-step walkthroughs are available on our site. I want to leave you with this final thought. If you are currently facing a denial or administrative silence, the clock is already ticking on your appeal window right now. Knowing the rules is only half the battle. Acting on them is the whole shebang. So who are you going to contact today to ensure your status in Spain is protected? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really wish you clarity and success as you navigate your next steps.
That was a quick overview. On our website you'll find step-by-step guides to many procedures, the Padrón, the health card, the NIE, the TIE, legalization, and more. The link is in the description. And if you get stuck, message our Telegram bot. We'll walk you through for free, step by step.